their associated families living in a desert with Moses for 40 years, the death rate's about 25% over a 10-year period, you'd have 40 to 60,000 human bones in one area. So God help these biblical archaeologists that went out there and actually looked for those bones, because, man, there's got to be tons of bones in that area. There are going to be bones buried every which way. They couldn't find any human bones linked back to that period at all. In fact, they only found a couple human bones out there. So after 200,000 people, plus another 150,000 or so families or women and children were out there, they didn't find anything. This is something that I didn't report on. The biblical archaeologists reported on it. So they were scientists, and so they had to report what they found or did not find. There's lots of things about this that I've heard, but
they didn't find it. That doesn't mean that they don't exist. Or
that is correct, but it's very unlikely they exist because they can't bury more than 20 feet down.
They just didn't find it.
Well, that's true. The scientists actually admit that very humbly, by the way, and I admit it that they have. I didn't say that it is possible. That's correct. Anything is possible.
But it doesn't prove your argument. Does not prove that Exodus did not pass because they didn't find bones.
That's true. However, let me put it this way. If you have a heart attack and 95 doctors come to you and say, take this medicine, it's really good.
I'm one person, easy to find.
And let me finish my question, and then you can answer.
Yeah, sure.
That's how it goes, you know, back and forth.
Did the same thing to me.
And 5 doctors come to you and say, don't take that medicine. Take this medicine. It's good for you. Saying the same thing. Who are you going to believe, 95 or 5? You're going to go with 95 doctors saying this medicine is good.
I believe my doctor, and I hope the one that is giving me the
he's part of the one of the 95, yes, right, okay. Well, I'm giving you a hypothetical there.
That, we have millions
say it last part again? Say it last part.
Many people saying the same thing doesn't make them all right.
That's right, but many people studying the same thing for most of their lives makes it much more plausible than those that have not studied it.
Why don't we examine this one question, because we can keep hitting lots of different topics, and let's get a little deeper on this one. So we got a couple of issues here. One of them is the Exodus. There's some great responses to that, by the way. The other issue is we're looking at, why are the miracles of Jesus in particular not
let's
recorded?
Concentrate on that one. I'd like your answer on that one.
So now you keep mentioning these 19 historians, and I'm still not sure which the 19 historians are. Can you mention one of them?
Email them.
Like what?
Well, Josephus actually, that was proven that it was a fraud and rewritten in history about 1300. You probably know about that.
Right. Those are called interpolations. And it's very possible that there are some interpolations in there, but the core was not proven to be wrong. The core of it was proven to be correct. So, I've read lots of guys too,
Probably more than I have, Doug. You're in the business.
In fact, they found nothing to do with the 1300. You have an early Arabic manuscript that has the basic thing. So, I highly doubt that Josephus said, and there was this man named Jesus, if indeed he should be called a man. I mean, if he had really said that, he would have been a believer in Jesus Christ.
Well, what do you think of all the other historians that did not, they just didn't hear of the miracles of Jesus? They thought he was just another guy?
They weren't living in Israel. These 19 were not living in Israel. They were not connected with Israel. They could have cared less about some little country in their big empire, little Israel. Who cares about Israel? These Jews, they're pathetic. They're nothing. You see?
I'll have to study more on that. I'm not prepared to argue that point.
But now you realize that Albright, a lot of the big archaeologists considered the Synoptic Gospels to be very good eyewitness accounts. I lived in Israel for 3 years, and they still take their Bible out with them when they go and do a dig. You have Jewish, very much contrary to Christian researchers that say, hey, the Bible, the Gospels especially, are a very good historical document. Now that doesn't mean they believe in Jesus as a divine figure, but they believe in him as a real person. They take it with them, and it's always been authenticated.
Okay.
So they
I'm going to interrupt you for just a moment.
Yeah.
Susan, I've known since I was in 2nd grade. Raise your hand, Susan. She's a Christian and a school teacher. And thank you very much, Susan, for coming with me tonight, or to hear me tonight. Do you have any questions?
Oh, let's see. I was thinking of some, but I was just wondering how many atheists, you know that are perfect?
Who?
How many atheists you know that are?
Oh, come on, give me a less rhetorical question than that.
Well, I mean, I think that's what Christians have to
Lynn?
deal with. People have to deal with, is when you don't live up to what you know to be good and right all the time. And how you live with that or try to make it right, make your life right.
So if I make a mistake and I don't have God to support me, how do I live with myself? Is that right?
Yes, and
Okay.
societies in general that are found all over the world who know that there's something they're not doing right and enough right. I mean, Christians think that way too. We don't do enough right, but we depend on someone to make it right.
I don't understand the last one, but I can answer the first part. When something happens bad to me, I don't blame it on God. Don't, if you, okay, I'll give you a good example.
No, when you do wrong, not when something bad happens to you, but when you do wrong.
So how does he
How do
deal with
I-
the guilt? Is that what you're
Yeah,
thinking?
the
How do I
guilt.
feel guilt? So that means that if I had a God, I could go and confess my guilt to Him and make myself feel better?
No, I just want to know what you do when you have guilt.
Well, I was trying to,
What do you do as an atheist? What do you do with your guilt and your shortcomings?
well, I talk to my family and friends about it if I can. I feel bad. I've done mistakes in the past that I feel bad about. I try to make amends. That's always a good thing. That's one of the AA things. I'm not an alcoholic, by the way, but make amends is a good thing. For instance, I'll give you an example. When I was 15 years old, I broke in and burglarized my junior high school to get a tape recorder. I was a musician, and this tape recorder was so sweet. I didn't have any money to buy it, and I know the school was just going to buy another one because their insurance money. So I went in and ripped it off. Broke a window, went to the cafeteria, did a very bad thing. I stole. Well, it took a while. I always felt bad about it even after I did it. I guess I had a sense of morality back then, but my greed took over. So just 2 months ago, I called the school. Of course, no one was there when I was there. It was 45 years ago. Oh, what? Am I making myself too old, Lynn? Okay, roughly 40 years old. 40 years ago. And I talked to the principal. I said, you know, I did a really bad thing. And he said, well, what? And he goes, well, you know, I ripped off you, 40 years ago, and I'd like to replace it or come to the school or donate a computer or make amends. That is so sweet, he said. But due to this law and that law, the only thing you can do, you can't talk to anybody in school anymore without a fingerprint analysis. And the No Child Left Behind Act, it's like you have to actually be processed by the local police to talk, and even if you're a what is it called, a chaperone at a school dance, you still have to go to the police and get your fingerprints because they don't want any perverts down there. So no way am I going to talk to them. I really wanted to talk to the kids, so I offered to give my a computer.
Were you an atheist?
That's what I do, by the way. I try to make amends, and I try to make it good. If I can.
Good or right?
Well, we're still in the process. They're talking to their computer department. I have a $13,000 system that is right now, technology, right? It sucks. So it's worth about $200 right now. I paid $13,000 for this editing computer for video, and I'm going to donate that. So they can at least learn. It's the same as all the new stuff. It's just that it's an older computer. And
Bruce, I just wanted to make you aware about thing when you talk about religion being bad, and I'm not trying to argue about anything, but are you aware that Jesus did not have a good relationship with the religious state?
oh, absolutely. He was a rebel. He was a cult. Man, the Jews out
He
there.
didn't think highly
Yeah,
of
you're right.
religious people either,
Well,
because he called them hypocrites.